What our people don't know is that you had a president by the name of Andrew Jackson. In 1830, he made a bill called the Removal Act that actually legally let the government and let the army actually remove the Indians from off their lands. A lot of our people don't understand as far as like where a lot of stuff actually formed from, as far as like minstrel shows, as far as like the exaggeration of certain paintings and advertisements, as far as like what blacks had to suffer. That goes back to Renaissance period. You have guys like Michelangelo, Rembrandt, and Leonardo da Vinci that was paid a commission by the popes back in the 1400s to actually redo everything, redo all the cathedrals, paint the ceiling, Moses being white, David, all the biblical characters, okay, white. Uncovering the evil of America it goes into ingredients. Different food ingredients that are delegated towards black communities. Red dye is one ingredient, like blue dye and the dyes. The FDA and just like the CDC, what they do, they work hand in hand together. The FDA approves the bad food. Okay, the CDC, they approve the bad medicine. We're going to treat this ailment. If they cure it, they can't make no money. Oh, Hustle, you got to understand even the history behind holidays, that are celebrated by people like Thanksgiving. That was like one of the most murderous days on the calendar. You had General Custer, and you had a couple more guys that came in with a brigade, and they actually started scalping the Indians, and they started like just taking over their land. So as a as a result of that, and they made fun of the Indians. They had the Indians go out, kill turkeys, and come and serve them. So originally, the turkey represented, and they was making fun of the North American Indians, how they killed them. And they went around and started chopping off the Indian chief's heads and, kicking it around. That's where the game, came from? Soccer. So how do we get this way? How are you going to capture a nation of people, the greatest people on this earth, and how do we come to the terms that we're at to this day?
Author and historian, Frank Zaaqan Jordan. Book collection is now available on Amazon. Order your copy today.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Supporting Black Authors Book Club. I am your host, Minister Deborah Davis, coming to you live from Facebook and YouTube, as I do every Tuesday night, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, with an awesome author. We have a treat for you tonight. Let me tell you, author Frank Zaaqan Jordan is in the building. I want to just tell you a little bit about him. Frank, he was born and raised in Brooklyn, New York. He became a published author in 2012, have lectured at numerous universities, and won several writers' awards, including the 2018 Nat Turner Book of the Year Award. He has written 7 published Black history books, including a new one just last week that range from Before Slavery, Unmentioned Black Art, and the Great and Rich History of Segregation, to Pass, and Experimental Medication and Food Ingredients, FDA and CDC approved. Frank's job is to educate us and to explain to us why and give a solution to our people. And for those that want to know more about our unmentioned history, author Frank has a Black History School located at 817 Newborn Avenue in Raleigh, North Carolina. We're going to talk about that. He's there every Saturday. But ladies and gentlemen, Facebook and YouTube, I introduce to some, present to others, author and historian Frank Zaaqan Jordan. Hey, author Frank, welcome to Supporting Black Authors Book Club. How are you?
Good. I feel pretty good. How are you?
Good. I read your bio. Was there anything in there that I didn't mention that you want to share, you can share right now. Also, if there's anyone that you want to thank or give a shout out to, let's do that.
Oh yeah, I mean, numero uno. I want to thank the Most High and His Son. Yahushua. All praise to the Most High. Number one first. But you pretty much said it all. You pretty much said it all. As far as the accolades and the school actually that's located in Raleigh, 817 New Bern Avenue. We're there every Saturday from 3 o'clock until 7. And when you do actually, visit there and you visit Raleigh and you want to stop in, you'll learn more in 3 hours than you may have learned your entire life.
Oh, I believe that. I believe that. Know why? Because we're talking tonight about uncovering the evil of America. I like the way he spelled America. He spelt it, if you can't see, he spelt it with 3 Ks, with KKK. Okay.
Perfect.
And he's going to tell us what the FDA, pharmacies, and the CDC failed to tell us. Look, I've been in this book, y'all. I mean, I've been really in it. There is so much in here. We're not going to be able to cover it all tonight, nor do we want to cover it all tonight, because why? We want you to get this book. And I'm telling you, it is filled with so much informative information, things that I never thought about, and things that I'm sure some other people haven't thought about. And you chose this genre, this history of to write about. Was there anything in your past, or what made you decide to delve into history the way you have, especially Black history today?
Our people are very misinformed on everything. What we was, because we're living in a European intellect, society. From the time our forefathers was brought over here in the late 1500s, even up to today, we inherited actually, as Blacks in America, we actually inherited the dysfunction, of our forefathers, not knowing certain things, and actually not wanting to have those type of conversations, Deborah. You know what I mean? Right. Not wanting to have certain conversations because of the dysfunction and what we were taught, self-hate, that's number one. And even up to today, in the year 2020, it's still our people are some of the most misinformed people, on this planet, and not to downgrade or not to talk negative. But like I said, we inherited that from our forefathers back from slavery. As far as a historical standpoint, like I said, I don't blame school teachers. I don't blame the Black school teachers, because they're just being, they're just teaching, what curriculum in which they've been taught. So when you delve, into certain things, and when you travel and you read as many books as I have over 1,100 history books, that I've collected within the past 31 years. Some imported from Israel, Jerusalem, some imported from Rome, some imported from Russia. And when you look at history and you compare it, to American history and what we've all been taught, it's something, and I know that I found out it's something really remotely wrong. Right, from what we've been taught into reality.
Yeah, so I like the scripture that you use in your dedication.
Thank
from
you.
Matthew 24:22. I love that, because we know Matthew 24, that was Jesus's prediction of the destruction of the temple of Jerusalem.
That's
and
right.
The signs of the end of the time, the signs of the age, and it seems, and let me read the 24 and 22, and except those days should be shortened, there should be no flesh be saved, but for the elect's sake, those days shall be shortened. And he's talking about the last days, and now, with a lot of warfare and fights and massacres that was going on in the city of Jerusalem. And we can see the things that are going on now. We know that this was Jesus's prediction, and he was telling his disciple, many will be coming in my name.
Absolutely.
But don't be deceived. And he said that nations would rise up against nations and rumors of wars, and there will be wars. And he said, but that still is not the end of the time. The end of the time will not be until all nations have heard about me. And I love that you used that, because as we look at the way things are today, we can definitely see that we are in the last and evil days. So I want you to talk about that a little bit, because I love the way you spelled America. You used 3 Ks.
Perfectly.
Yeah, let's talk about that. Uncovering the evil of America.
Right.
That you.
Right. Hey, listen, we can't, one thing that I learned about our people hate being told the truth, and they hate being told the truth. They hate being told, something that they learn, from our European intellect is not true and it's not correct. But for years, we sat in school, we learned about George Washington, we learned about, Easter eggs, Easter bunnies laying eggs. Ben Franklin discovering electricity, and we know that a electrical force, it'll kill you, if it hits you. So you got to kind of question these things as far as like what
about the Easter bunny and about the tooth fairy, and you said that people don't like the truth. That's where it starts, when we tell our children those lies.
Bingo.
And then we don't want them to lie.
Bingo.
I just want to throw that in there. We do. We teach our children.
Look, this conversation may go into an avenue where I didn't want it to go tonight, but I'm going to try to keep it cordial.
Okay.
Right. I'm going to try to keep it cordial, but the things that we were taught, and like I said, we're pretty much on a European intellect. And from the clothes that we wear, from the way we dress, and this particular instinct, is medication. Listen, Deborah, I got news for you. The blueprint of how we supposed to eat and how we supposed to live was already mandated, in this book, this wonderful book called the Bible. And I don't want to get into that too much, unless you want to. But, it was already pre-written, in the book, how we supposed to eat, what we supposed to eat, and what we supposed to do. So, you have man, let's just take, for instance, we're going to jump right into it. The CDC, the Center for Disease Control, I think they were built, and I think they formed up in 1946. Now here it is, you have the Centers of Disease Control. They're supposed to make medications, or they're supposed to make chemicals to actually prevent, diseases, from harming people. So let's just start with the FDA, the Food Drug Administrators. They're supposed to protect the public health. So, when you want to look at it from an aspect of that, you have foods that's out here that have certain ingredients when you go to your supermarket, that's actually put in scientific names that our people don't care to actually read. So as soon as you go into the supermarket, you're just taking things off of the shelf, that tastes good, and you're just taking things off of the shelf, that kids may nag you about. But take the time to actually read some of the ingredients on the back of these products that we are buying. And the reason why
Can we talk about some of those products? I see you had some of those products named in your book. I saw a couple things in your book that I like a lot. Like I use Splenda. That Splenda. And another thing you mentioned was the Mountain Dew. We love to buy it for Thanksgiving and stuff, but what's bad in here, Arthur Frank? What's bad in here?
Right. Splenda. Matter of fact, that's funny because I got a pack. I got a nice pack right here. Splenda, when you read the back of this, it has an ingredient called sucrose. And sucrose has been known, to cause cancer. It's been known to cause cancer, and even some cases, it has been known to actually cause brain tumors as well too. So you got to kind of look at it at the bottom as well too. When you look at the bottom, this is Deborah, this is FDA approved. So you got to kind of ask yourself, if the FDA, let's put one and one together. If the FDA is approving this, to go into your system, how are they preventing, okay, the diseases, and how are they protecting you? It's all, listen, let me tell you something. It's
Well,
all,
I'll tell you what I'm going to do.
yeah. Yeah, let me clap for that. Let me out your Let me clap for that. Right. So, hey, listen.
I'm gonna keep it real. You're a historian. You've done some research. We got to talk. We want to talk about, where you get your information. I trust that you have researched your information. I am not a historian. Right. I don't know this stuff, but if you say that that's bad, I'm throwing it. I'm tossing it. I didn't toss mine. Did y'all hear that? Y'all right. Y'all look, because a lot of times we use stuff thinking that it's better for us, more healthier for us, and this is very bad for us.
Right. Right. Absolutely, Deborah. The only thing our people have to do is look up, like I said, the only thing our people have to do is just start looking at the ingredients on the back, okay, on the back of the food labels that you get. Because listen, our taste palates, Black people's taste palates have been compromised.
Sweet.
Okay.
Sweet.
Right. Right. Our taste palates have been compromised. Okay, to think that the foods that are good for us, but actually they're bad. Man-made products. You
have Mountain Dew in here too. Can we talk about that Mountain Dew?
Right. Sure. Oh, we can. Right.
I know. Right. Listen. Let me say something. We have a lot to talk about, and look, let me tell you something. I don't profess to be none of this stuff in here, and I'm gonna tell you, I got this book. If you gotta get it, y'all. It's called Uncovering the Evil of Amerikka. KKK. He's spelling it KKK. Listen, share this video, share it, start a watch party, because it is a lot of informative information in here that we don't know. This book caught my eye, and I said, oh, I gotta get this, and I gotta get this man on here so he can tell us some truth, some things that we are missing. Listen, I want to just jump to, okay, you have all the pictures in here, you have the Splenda and all that, but I want to talk 1980s.
You mentioned Mountain Dew?
The 1980s. I'm skipping around, Frank. I'm skipping around. Okay. You got so much stuff in here. I want to talk about that for. I'm looking for the page, but you know where I'm going. The when they put the drugs in our neighborhood in 1980s.
Right. Absolutely right. Let me go back and let me bring your attention. Right. Let me go back and let me bring your attention to the actually to the Vietnam War.
That's for me and my house.
Was a war. Right. Hey, listen, good. That's very good. Right. Let me bring your attention back to the Vietnam War. That war was actually funded, okay, by the CIA, and really, when you really go back and look at it, actually, the United States had actually purchased, over 5,000 acres of land over in Vietnam to grow heroin. And, contrary to belief, the only reason why they had an immediate draft is because the Vietnamese really wouldn't sell the United States any more land so they can grow the poppy fields on. So listen, let me say this too. Vietnam War, that was actually a ploy to actually remove the Black man from out of the Black household. For a very long, was it a 25-year time period? So during the time when the Black man was over in the Vietnam War, getting high on morphine and heroin, there was a lot of things that actually went on during that time, which they set up, so-called Black leaders as spokesmen, and went around and marched and try to get us to actually ingratiate and actually get ourselves involved with the American way. That war was
I want to get the book because I went to college with him years ago in downtown Brooklyn.
Okay.
Okay.
Hey, listen. I was born and raised downtown Brooklyn, right in Farragut Projects.
So I found it. Okay. You said during the latter part of the 1980s, Black American families started a slow but rapid decline with a highly addictive and destructive new drug called crack on the rise, ripping through the Black and Hispanic communities, destroying and separating a large percentage of Black families like a bad plague out of a horror movie. Let me tell you why this stuck with me, because I fell into that trap.
Right.
You know, I'm recovering. I have been clean for 25 years.
Good.
But
Very good.
I was one of the one. That's why I wanted to hone in on this right here. We're very truthful about that. And that I was a single parent trying to raise 2 Black boys. Okay. So when you talked about these Black families here, due to the heavy drugs use among Black men and women, unemployed rise was common, and which in turn drove the crime rates up dramatically. And once again, incarceration isn't too far from the vortex of life for Black America. Divorce rate for Black families was on an all-time high. This stuck with me because if you now where we are now, and people don't understand when we say Black life matters, but they say, why are you killing each other if Black life matters? Tell them why, author. Tell them why.
Right. Let me listen. You know what? When people say that, when Black people say that, you know, we're killing one another. Okay, well, you know, let's look at that. Okay, you got to go back. You know, you got to go back to the root of the problem. Okay, if you got guns in the Black community, the last time I checked, okay, the Remington family, okay, are Europeans. Okay, the last time I checked, the Mossberg family that produced guns are Europeans. What about the Smith and Wesson brothers? Okay, the last time I checked, okay, they're Europeans. So you have these people that are producing the weapons, okay, to put in our hands. So then again, you have Black people to say, well, you know, you don't, you can't, you know, we don't force each other. But listen, why give them that option? You know, why give them that option, and why create and bring forth an instrument, you know, for people to actually harm themselves? If that's the case, just don't make it. If you really care and you really care about stop the violence and stop the gun violence, let's start at the root of the problem. Let's protest, okay, the Remington family that's mass producing these weapons. And what about the Mossberg family, okay, that's mass produced? If you get rid of the producers, okay, you won't have a problem. CDC labs, okay, that's producing the chemicals, the ethanol, okay, to make, okay, drugs. Why don't we go and produce? Why don't we go and protest those labs, okay, that's producing the chemicals to get into the Black community? I don't know. We always blaming one another. You know, we always blaming one another. Hey, there's Tyreek on the corner. He shouldn't be there. Why don't we go to the root of the problem, okay, and protest the labs that are making the drugs that are being allowed in the Black community, okay? And when you have these drugs, okay, when you go back to the root of the problem, here it is. You have the FDA and you have the CDC that stands guilty, that's actually licensing these labs, okay, to produce these drugs, these harmful drugs, to go into the Black community, okay, to destroy us. Those are facts. Those are facts.
Those are facts. And it's a sad fact, you know, because when I think back and I look back on when they did put those drugs in our communities and in our neighborhoods, and I was trying to be a mother, trying to raise 2 sons, and got a hold of that bad drug, and it was very addictive. I thank God that I'm still standing, and I pray for those that did not make it out. It was a lot of people. It was a lot of people that were destroyed, you know. And what we have to really understand, Arthur Frank, is that what we're dealing with is warfare. We're dealing with warfare, you know, in our communities.
That's right.
And that's what it is. You know, we're dealing with a lot of warfare, and we have a lot of work to do. So I want to thank you for coming to share this knowledge. If you're just joining us, come on, you got to get this book. I want you to put it in the comments that you will get Uncovering the Evil of Amerikka, spelled Amerikka. Let's talk about that. We got to talk about that. No, we got to talk about why you spelled it like that. Come on now.
Hey, listen, the Klan, listen, hey, listen, the Klan actually was formed up, I think in 1865, and they were known as the Night Riders. Okay, they formed up in 1865 in Tennessee, and they were known as the Night Riders. Coincidentally, they actually formed up. They actually formed up. It was okay to kill minorities, right? Exactly, Sister Shalonda, right? Right, absolutely. Until they start working back on Jill and then start working back on Beth. Until it start working back on Beth that lived in the suburbs. You're absolutely correct. Now all of a sudden, now you got to build rehab centers and the oxycodone. Now now all of a sudden we got to start we got to start building rehab centers because now everything is flipping back on them. Okay, so last time I checked, Deborah, okay, in the 80s, last time I checked in the 80s and even going back in the 60s, Negroes and Puerto Ricans, they've been on heroin. They've been taking drugs. I don't understand what is the big concern all of a sudden now when you have, little Chip, okay, that lives in Scarsdale, or you have Bethany, okay, or Beth that lives down, in Calabasas, California. Now it's flipping back on them. Good.
I want to share some of the comments. We have a comment here from Miss Deborah Rose. She says crack was introduced into the Black communities to separate Black families.
Absolutely. It's like
anymore, but they ripped families apart with drugs. Listen, I'm telling you, it was hard to be a single Black mother raising two boys addicted to that drug right there. I'm a witness. And I'm just grateful to God today that I can tell my story. A lot of people didn't make it out of there. A lot of people just make it out of that, the drug addiction that they put down in our neighborhoods. But at that time, do you think I was thinking that this was designed, that it was designed to keep me down? Do you think I was thinking that this drug was designed for me to be a poor mother, for me to lose hope, to give up on life? I didn't think none of that, So I'm so glad you're here today. I'm so glad that you're here today to share this information with not only the crack addiction that happened in the 80s. Let's jump ahead, and something else you mentioned in your book. You talked about the flu shot, something I've never ever taken a day in my entire life. I've never taken a flu shot, but let's educate them about the flu shot, because now they're coming out with another vaccine. I'm gonna just jump ahead a little bit, but I want you to talk about, so much stuff in that book, Arthur Frank, where we want to talk about that too tonight.
Right. Hey, let's go back to the CDC. The CDC are the people that make, make the bacteria, and they make the chemicals, and they make the, they make the medication, that's actually produced by companies like Pfizer. They give the permission to companies like Pfizer actually mass produce the medication, and what they're actually doing with most, if not all, of the medication that they produce, what they do, you become chemically dependent upon the medication. And I'm gonna jump back onto the flu shot, because what I'm saying is gonna lead up to something. Let's just say, for instance, like you have, matter of fact, look.
I order on Amazon.
Look, hey, Deborah, I bought a pack of Skittles for you. Okay, and this is very important.
My kids love Skittles. Well, my grandkids. I thought Skittles in there too.
I bet they do. Okay, all right. Okay, now listen very carefully. Listen very carefully. Okay, this is something that they won't teach you in school. Listen very carefully. Okay, in this pack of Skittles right here, you have the ingredients. Okay, you have red dye, you have red dye, you have blue dye, and you have something called titanium dioxide. Okay, you have something called titanium dioxide. Now, when you go and when you look up the word titanium dioxide, which is in this bag of Skittles,
love Skittles,
right? Which is in this bag of Skittles that your kids, and it's a point to all of this. You just got to follow me. It's a point. okay, when you look up the word titanium dioxide, these are made out of, okay, when you look it up, okay, they have another ingredient. Titanium dioxide goes up on another ingredient called carcinogenic. Okay, and when you look up carcinogenic, okay, when you look it up, okay, and here it is right here. When you look up the definition carcin, okay, gentic, okay, and we all know that red dye, blue dye, orange dye, yellow dye, that causes cancer, that causes growth of cancer in you. Now, when you look up carcinogenetic, okay.
He said, "Wow, I won't eat another Skittle in my life. Me neither, baby."
Yeah,
What
she probably got a cabin full of them. Hey, what's going on, Alicia? Hey, listen. So listen, when the ingredient titanium dioxide, and when you look up titanium dioxide, it goes up under carcinogenic. Okay, and when you look up carcinogenic, it says right here, having the potential, okay, to cause cancer. It says it right there. And this is in Skittle. And once again, hey, listen, once again, Deborah, this is FDA approved.
What about my Jolly Ranchers? Can I eat my Jolly Ranchers?
Me personally, really, to be honest with you, I haven't ate candy since junior high school.
I love Jolly Ranchers. I'm gonna have to look.
Right. I bet your goodness love you too.
Wait a minute, this is what you said.
Yeah.
I was chewing on some today, Lord.
Yeah. And hey, listen.
I'm laughing, but there's some good stuff right here. You know, I know I laugh at everything.
Look. Let me tell you something. Okay, I can't. I didn't make these ingredients up. They're right on. Look, I bought this especially for this show. You know, just so people. And the sad part about it is that, you know, whenever it comes to our people trying to share, some kind of, you know, life lessons or some kind of, enthusiasm, or even, you know, I may say, you know, just life-changing advice, it always have to be, you can't eat no flaming Cheetos. Okay. It always has to be.
I don't like those, Daniela.
Hey, listen.
I don't like nothing hot. I don't like nothing spicy or nothing hot. So I'm good on the Cheeto part.
Right. And that red dye, and let me tell you something, Deborah, that red dye that's in those flaming hot Cheetos, that's more red dye. Okay, that's more red dye that has the potential, okay, to cause cancer. I got another one for you. Hold up now. I got a whole lot of goodies for you, Deborah. God, I know you want to say something. Okay, I got a whole lot more goodies for you. All right. Okay, this is Sweet and Low. Okay.
I don't like Sweet and Low.
Okay, good. For the ones who do, okay, the ones who do. All right.
Okay, for the ones who do, y'all better pay attention.
Yeah, another one, Sweet and Low. You know, they offer these packets at hotels. You know, they offer them cruise ships. They offer them wherever you go. You know, in schools, they offer them to your kids in school, high schools. And let me tell you something, okay? When you look on the back of Sweet and Low, it has the same ingredients as the ones in Splenda. It has that sucralose in it, and sucralose is known. Okay, if you eat and you take enough of it and you ingest enough of it, it causes cancer. Okay, now let me say something. Okay, years ago, okay, as a kid growing up in Brooklyn, I grew up in Farragut Projects in Brooklyn, right over by the Brooklyn Navy Yard. Okay, and down on Flushing Avenue, the Sweet and Low factory existed down on Flushing Avenue. I don't know if it still exists or not, but I know the Sweet and Low factory existed, and they made this. And a long time ago, Deborah, I remember when you looked on the Sweet and Low packet on the back, it told you and it warned you. It said, warning. It says,
warning.
This product, okay, is linked to brain cancer in lab animals. So they all of a sudden they took it off. Okay, so if it causes brain cancer,
so they took that information off.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I'm gonna tell you what they did, Deborah. They took the warning off.
She and said all our snacks is on the list.
Yeah. Hey, listen. Yeah, Aisha, you smart. Listen, they took the warning off. But the only thing they did, Deborah, okay, they had replace it with the ingredient sucralose. And sucralose is known to cause brain cancer, okay, along with tumors. That's all they did. That's all they did.
People got dementia, Alzheimer's, and all that other stuff, you know?
Right.
She said she's just gonna stick with her spinach. Tamika.
Right.
I might start on those smoothie spinach. That's the only way I can eat it. But let's talk real quickly about, I really want to talk about that. I mentioned the flu shot because now they're coming up with this vaccine. This vaccine for the coronavirus.
Right.
So I just want to ask your opinion, Arthur Frank, on this vaccine that they're coming up with now. Are you or would you take the vaccine?
No, not at all. Not at all. Not if I want to live.
Y'all all that know me know I laugh at everything, but this is some serious stuff that we talking about. Don't pay me no mind because I'm a giggle box. But
right. Hey, listen. Let me draw your attention to something. Okay, let me draw your attention to something. In 19, huh?
I like this one right here. Aisha.
Right.
She said, "Don't do it."
Right. Listen, let me draw your attention to something, Deborah. Okay, in 1932, from 1932 to 1972, there was this thing called the Tuskegee experiment. Now,
I remember the Tuskegee experiment. Mm-hmm.
Pay close attention. There was a thing called the Tuskegee experiment, right, where you had hundreds of black men down in Tuskegee, Alabama. Okay, where as that they were actually handpicked and selected, okay, for the health services, okay, for the human health services that got the CDC, okay, gave them permission to go down to Tuskegee, okay, and get syphilis, okay, into black men, okay.
Okay, so let's talk about something real quick. Like, why do you think it is that every disease that comes out is mainly black people gonna get it? Black people gonna get it. Even with the corona, when it first came out, it came out of China. Wasn't nobody even thinking about black people getting it the most, you know?
Right.
So
Right.
you're going to have to educate us on why black people are getting the most diseases and that they want to experiment on us, give us the vaccine, and why you included these K's in your title.
Right. Going back to what I was talking about in Tennessee. Okay, let's go. Look, let's go back to the crust of the whole thing. 1865, when the KKK first formed up. Okay, now the Emancipation, okay, was signed in 1863. Now that was when we were supposed to have been freed as slaves. Okay, in 1860. So why is it 3 years later? Okay, the Klan was formed up. So now, okay, you got the Klan, okay, that was formed up in 1865 in Tennessee. So they were known as the Night Riders, and what they were doing, they were actually, and that was right off of the Civil War. So right after the Civil War, okay, what they were doing, they were actually going and rounding up the Civil War Confederate soldiers. They were going around rounding up the free slaves that didn't have anywhere to go, that were called vagabonds, and they were called vagabonds and vagrants. Okay, so there's a particular. You want to say something?
Not really. I was thinking though, because I was thinking about why they didn't want us educated.
Right.
You know, they didn't want us to be able to read.
We can
go on.
Right. I can elaborate on that. Right. And you know, so when the KKK was formed up, you know, they were actually, you know, rounding up, you know, the people that were left. And there's one particular place sticks out in Mississippi called the Devil's Punch Bowl. Okay, where there were black let me just get this out there. Okay, there were more black concentration camps in America than there was the whole time in Germany when Hitler was ruling. Okay, 3 words: the Devil's Punch Bowl down in Mississippi. Okay, and what they did down there, the Confederate soldiers, okay, during 1865 and 1870, what they did, they rounded up over 20,000 black women, men, and kids, and literally worked them to death. Okay, down in it was down in Natchez, Mississippi. Okay, and they worked them to death for 1 year. Okay, and after that 1 year, they killed them and threw them over a cliff. Okay, this is stuff that nobody talks about. This is stuff that they won't tell you about in school, but I wrote about it. These are the conversations that
you wrote about it. Yes, you wrote about it. I'll stop you on. Please let the viewers know where you get your research from, and where you get your information from, because we need to let them know that these are facts, and it's not something that you just wrote about. So where? No, I know. I'm just saying we need to let them know where you do your research and how you come up with these facts.
Right. Let's just say, for instance, what I was just talking about in Natchez, Mississippi. You can actually go to Natchez, or you can actually, order books online. And me myself, I'm in possession of probably over 1,100 history books. And you can do the research back on Natchez, Mississippi, and the Devil's Punch Bowl. Okay, you can Google that. Okay, it's not, it's not something that's far fetched. But I happen to have a book that was actually written. Okay, a couple of books that was written by several white scholars. Okay, on the Devil's Punch Bowl, where you had Negroes that were actually recaptured and they were put back into slavery, and 20,000 of them. Okay, actually, here it is right here. Okay, actually 20,000 black men and women, they were put back into slavery. And it was so bad, the Confederate soldiers treated them so bad that they actually begged, okay, to go back into regular slavery with the regular white people. Okay, and like I said, look it up. Okay, you can actually Devil's Punch Bowl. Okay, you can look it up. It says failure to listen in history, or you could just Google it. Okay, or you could just look it up, or you can go on Amazon, and they have like about maybe 10 to 15 books on just that topic, alone. Okay, so
no, it's just that it's so much information in here, y'all. I want y'all to get this book. You gotta get it. I'm halfway through the book. I read a lot of it. It's so much information in here that it blows your mind. It's mind-boggling to know. Even the toxic spraying of pesticides. I think back when I saw this page right here. I think back when we were children, and they would come with the sprays and stuff, and we would run out in the spray and play in the spray and stuff. We would say, "Here's the mosquito man. The mosquito man's here," and we would run out in all that mess, And we'd be mad if we missed a truck,
Right.
There's so much in here that I couldn't get over it.
Right.
Even one more thing I want you to cover, because we are running out of time. I want you to cover the AIDS epidemic. Wait, Frank could literally rewrite curriculum for school systems. He has a school. We want to talk about that. He does have a school. I might even just come down just to visit. Once this thing is all over, I'm gonna come to your school, because listen, you're teaching us some stuff tonight. Can we just touch on the AIDS epidemic, because we are running out of time? I'm definitely going to have to bring you back. There's no way I cannot bring you back for a part 2.
Listen, Robert, 2 words, Robert Gallo. Okay, 2 words, Robert Gallo.
Before you say it, are you okay? Because I did Google that, right? And in Googling it, okay, it did say that it was not. It was something that just got put out there. Okay, so
listen. Just like they'll put out and they'll say Beethoven, just like they'll put out and they'll say Beethoven was a white man. Okay, and we all know that Beethoven, was a black man. Okay, just like they'll put out and they'll say,
you teaching tonight.
Just like they say Socrates was just put out there. Okay, and these are facts. Okay, I didn't make these books up. Socrates was a black man. Matter of fact, I got an even better picture of him. Okay, I got even better picture of him. And this book right here actually came from the Roman Empire. Socrates was a black man living in Rome. He was a mathematician genius. All right, and he was a mathematician genius. All right, he was a black man living in Rome. These are some things. Listen, let me explain something real quick. In order to obloviate yourself and to make yourself as the greatest people on this planet, you have to present yourself, and you have to present this thing, two words called white supremacy. So the people that are the greatest people on this earth, you have to, because it was no fun living in the caves. That's another topic for a different day. What do you think? Where do you think Hollywood came from? Hollywood was invented in 1902. By a German named Harvey Wilcox. You can Google that all day if you want to. Hollywood was created for Europeans to create who they're not and pretend who they're not. That's why Hollywood was created. It was the biggest deception tool on this planet. Hollywood is a neighborhood outside of Los Angeles. So with that, they created Hollywood TV studios. You want to say something real quick? I see it in your face.
I wanted to say about the AIDS. I want you to touch on that. I want you to touch on that's important to me.
Right.
That you talk about that.
Right.
We as Black people, we've had family members that have died of AIDS. We've had friends that we know, people that we know that are sick with that awful disease.
Right.
And so I definitely want you to touch on the HIV epidemic.
Right. I mean, HIV was created. It's a virus that was created just like any other virus. That they create, in the CDC labs. Because if they don't create the virus, they can't make any money. I mean, let's just put it out there. If they don't create the virus, they can't make any money. The Heavenly Father already had the blueprint where he made the earth to regenerate, itself and to feed us off of what? Natural herbs. There's never a time, that you can read or you can have somebody, that herbs have a side effect. Don't you know natural herbs don't have a side effect? Don't you know garlic, is one of the best herbs on this planet, that reduces and prevents cancer? It's a blood cleanser. Raw garlic, doesn't make your breath stink.
In the food.
Well, some people breath stink without garlic. So hey, look, never made my breath stink.
I ain't talking about the breath, because the breath, you can eat a lot of stuff to make your breath stink, but just to eat garlic,
Right. Right. I'm gonna touch on one more thing too. That goes as a drug in the Black community. I'm just touch on two more things. Let's just say, for instance, like ADHD. And the way they treat.
They try to give it to every Black kid in the school.
Right. So the way that they, treat, ADHD. ADHD has side effects of nervousness, stomach pains, heart. It speeds up your heart rate. But this is something that is supposed to cure ADHD. Is called Ritalin. So when you take Ritalin is supposed to level you out. But actually it has side effects. You understand what I'm saying, Deborah?
Can I talk about that Ritalin? Okay, now I got to talk about that because I had a child that they said had that ADHD.
Right.
They put him on Ritalin.
Right.
I had to go to court because I refused to give him the Ritalin.
Right.
Because I seen what it made him. It made him feel sick. It made him nauseous. It made him sleepy. It was just a bad thing. And so the judge told me that if I didn't give it to him, that they were going to hold me and all this stuff. I said, okay. Right. So what I did was, I because they gave it to the school nurse to give it to him, I told my son, he was only 6. I said, listen, we're going to fool everybody. When you go to school, you put that pill under your tongue. When you go in the bathroom, spit it out. Go in the classroom, fool everybody. Sit there and be real good. I use reverse psychology on my son to get him off of that nasty drug that really they try to put all little black little boys on. So if we talk about that, we do have about 10 more minutes. If you just joining us, listen, we are talking to author Zaaqan Jordan.
You bouncing all over the place.
People of America. Spelled KKK. Y'all can't see it, but you got to get this book. I'm telling you, it's full of informative information about things that you probably don't know.
And hey, listen, Deborah, thank you for having me. I really appreciate your time, and I really appreciate you for having me.
Thank you for coming on.
Right. And listen, Ritalin, and again, Ritalin is what? Is FDA approved, and the CDC actually makes the Ritalin. So if you have a drug, okay, that you're giving your kids, and it speeds up their heart rate, it causes heart failure, it causes nervousness. So then you're going to go back to the doctor, you're going to go back, okay, to the person that prescribed it, and they're going to prescribe an even worse medication for you, for your kid. Now the kid is probably addicted. It works just a little bit. So now you got to go back. They can't make any money. They can't make any money if they don't prescribe your kids. But naturally, if you want to calm your kids down, you can go out and you can buy caramel tea. That'll calm them down.
Bring out a can of whoop.
We saw that belt. We saw that belt right on down.
Do you see now? Like again, I just want to mention. I'm a Army brat. I'm not a prejudice in no kind of way, but we're gonna keep it real. The facts are, you don't see them. They're not writing prescriptions for little Billy and little Johnny. They're not writing those prescriptions. They got their little timeout. Sit over here in the corner, be good, but they're not writing them no pills. No, they're not putting their kids on that stuff.
Right. And let me say this too, Deborah. Let me say this too. Living in the conditions that were created for us, the stressful conditions, when we live in low income, housing, when you live in low income areas, don't you know blacks living in the hood and blacks living in low income areas that's dilapidated, and you come from school, your kids come from school, they're worried about gang violence, and don't you know that's big money as well too. So now your kid is coming home, he's stressed out, he can't do his homework. So what do? The school psychiatrist writes him what? A prescription. It's big money in keeping our people depressed. Okay, so why, when people listen, that's big money. When our people are depressed, that's big money for the CDC to do what? Write that prescription. Write that prescription. Okay, here's some Ritalin. Okay, here's some albuterol. Here you go.
They also know that once these kids get addicted to these drugs, they're going to be less educated, and we know with less education that means incarceration. We didn't even touch on that. It's so much. As Fernanda says, adults have been known to take it as a drug to get high because it calms them down, but adults use it to speed and stay awake. And that's true. And that's one of the main reasons why I took my son off it, because my brother, may he rest in peace, my brother was murdered. That's a different story. But he took one of those pills to see what it did, and it messed him up. And he could not get his stuff together. Yeah, and I said, oh, well, if it does this to a grown man, imagine what it's doing to my child. But
when you was a child, and like you said, when you said, oh, the spray man is coming around, if it's killing off the bugs, and if it's what do you think it's doing?
As kids,
what do you right? If it's killing off the bugs, and if it's killing off the rattlesnakes, and it's killing off the snakes, and what do you think it's doing to you, Deborah?
Yeah, and then some of us probably now still have some effects and all that stuff,
That's how they get down. Okay, that's how they get down from the foods that you eat. Okay, and that's how they get us. The foods that we consume, okay, has ingredients in it, okay, to keep us going back to the hospital. But listen, one more thing, couple more things. Listen, chives, lavender, caramel, dandelion, cilantro, garlic. Go to the store, and get a lot of that stuff, because natural herbs, our bodies have magnesium in it. Our body have iron. Our body has natural ingredients in it, Deb. But I'm gonna keep it short. Our bodies have natural ingredients
No, I'm laughing because all the stuff you name is like, and that's the problem. If it don't taste good, we want stuff that's not good for us.
Right.
With this information on tonight, y'all, ladies, listen. I'm gonna tell y'all. I promise you, I'm gonna lose me a good 10 pounds. I'm giving up on stuff.
Listen, our taste palates have been compromised. Our taste palates have been compromised. Into into the American system. And
but this morning, I did not put the Splenda in my coffee. But you know what? I didn't miss it.
Good.
I didn't miss it. I was like, hey, I can do this. I can do this.
Right, right. They got a natural plant called stevia, S-T-E-V-A, called stevia.
It's better than all of it, yeah.
Right. Stevia is a natural herb that's a natural sweetener. Go to the store and buy some honey. You don't always have to use.
That was a question back here. Gwen Washington asked. She said, I remember her asking. Here, wait a minute. She said, what's the difference between the honey and the sugar? I seen it way back here. Oh, but I remember Gwen Washington asking something about the honey. Yeah,
right. Mm-hmm. You want to answer that, or you want me to answer it?
It's good, raw honey.
Yeah, well, white sugar is addictive. I mean, let's just put it out there. White sugar is addictive. Okay, if you want to go to the store, get yourself some brown sugar or get yourself some natural honey. It's nothing natural about white sugar. Okay, get yourself some raw. Go get some. Import some raw sugar cane from Puerto Rico if you can, because sugar cane is grown naturally. Get some honey. Hey, just like Thierry Drummond said. Okay, get some. Get some honey.
You're not put no honey in your coffee, are you?
You can put, listen, like I said, there's a natural plant called stevia, okay, that's very good for diabetics as well, too, where you can actually put the stevia inside, and it's a natural sweetener, okay, that will sweeten up everything, right?
Yeah. Well, you know what? Woo!
One more. William Shakespeare, black man. William Shakespeare, black man. They're not going to tell you that in school. William Shakespeare, the greatest playwright on this planet, okay, he was a black man. Okay, I got over 15 books, okay, imported from England. William Shakespeare, black man. This is something they're not going to teach you in school. And this come out of my book, We Once Were a Family. Okay, this is a really
for that book. We're gonna have to bring. You got 7 books,
yes,
right? So look, name your 7 books. Give us 7 books.
Okay.
You want to name books?
Yeah.
Name
Yeah, you can buy all my books on Amazon. The only thing you gotta do is type in Frank, F-A-R-N-K, Zaaqan, Z-A-A-Q-A-N, Jordan. And the first book that I actually wrote, okay.
We got a question. We gotta answer this question. There it is.
All right, simple. Okay, William Shakespeare was a black man living, okay, back in England. Okay, the reason why that they do that in whitewash, it's like everything else, okay, is for what? Let's put it out there for white supremacy. Okay, we don't listen. Let me say this, right? Okay, even it's the same way like Robert Fleming Jr. This is a guy that invented the guitar. Okay, a black man. Okay, that invented the guitar. Okay, and contrary to belief, okay, anytime any black man does something or invents something, you ever notice how they always say they made improvements to it? Okay, how the hell can you make improvements to something that doesn't even exist? Okay, I don't understand that. Anytime a black man invents something, they always say made improvements to. Okay, but Danielle. Okay.
You just mentioned too, one of the biggest masquerades was portraying Jesus with blonde hair and blue eyes. You can't go there right now.
I got plenty of pictures.
No, we really can.
Got plenty of them. Disciples from books that he was a black man. Plenty of them.
It's so much history on him being a black man.
How much time you got?
Okay.
How much time you got, Deborah?
Look, we went way over the time. Let me tell you something. I have other authors that are watching, and you know what they're going to be saying, don't you? Well, I had to keep author Zaaqan, y'all. Look at all this stuff. This stuff, you can't do this in you can't do this in 30 minutes. You can't do this, and we've been on an hour. You can't do this in an hour. So you definitely have to go out and get. Could you type in the comments, please? I'm going to buy the book. Just type it in the comments. I'm going to buy the book. Come on, give some hearts, give some likes, share the video. This information is so informative. I need you to type in the comments that I'm going to buy the book. We got to go, but I want you to type it in the comments. Yes, we are going to bring him back. Somebody said bring him back. Somebody said they brought the book.
Beethoven, Black man.
Look, that's what I'm talking about. We are supporting Black Authors Book Club. We support our authors. And somebody else says, I brought the book, arriving December 5th. Listen, we want to support. Not only are you supporting the author, but you're getting some informative information. I mean, I got this book and it was hard for me to put it down.
Absolutely.
So I want you to get the book. So before we leave, hold up your books. I don't want to let you go, but I got to.
Yeah, I know. This is gonna just take a second. Okay, I can't hold them all in my hand. I can't hold them all on hand, but I actually written 7. Okay, I've written 7. You can go on Amazon, Frank Zaaqan Jordan, and you can educate yourself. You can educate yourself all day long as well as your kids.
Wow. Here we go. They buying a book, baby. They buying a book. That's what I'm talking about. Yep. See, that's what I love. Not only do we want to just buy the book, we want to sow into author Zaaqan's life. He has a school, a whole school. Just give the address and the date, time of your school, please, before we leave. Author Zaaqan, are you there? Don't tell me he froze up, y'all. Look, I got his school information. He has his school. It's a Black History School located at 817 Newborn Avenue in Raleigh, North Carolina. It's in Suite 7. It's every Saturday from 4 to 7 p.m. I was just getting ready to ask him his Cash App information. Look, and he froze up, y'all. Can you believe it? Wow. I want to sow into his life, so I'm gonna have to inbox him, y'all. I don't know. He got disconnected, but we did get a lot of information. You got to go out, get the book, Uncovering the Evil of America, what the FDA, pharmacies, and the CDC failed to tell you, written by author Frank Zaaqan Jordan. You got to go out and get his book. I don't know. Back. Are you there? Are you there? Yeah. You left us for a minute. Move something. There's something, a finger on your camera. Something's going on there. You got a lot going on.
Okay. Hey, listen, let me explain something to you. They do that all the time to me, Deborah. They do this all the time. I'm literally surprised, to be honest with you. I'm literally surprised that they didn't do that sooner, to be honest with you. You know, they do that all the time. They cut the time short. Certain things go out. They'll blur it. They'll put noise. They'll put noise through it. Anything to disrupt that. I'm surprised they let me get out that much information.
Well, I'm glad you were able to share as much as you shared tonight. They want to know, do you have online classes? If not, I think that would be a good idea for you to do the online classes, because you have so much information that you need to be able to have more than one way of getting that information out.
Right. So, hey, Aisha Carol, you can email me ZAAQAN1212 at yahoo.com, and I'll answer you back. I'm not like a lot of guys. I'll answer you back.
So we want to sow in your life. If you have a Cash App,
it's $ capital Z AA12.
That's it.
Z as in zebra, AA12, capital Z.
So it's $
capital Z,
Z,
AA 12.
AA.
12.
Oh, wait a minute.
That's correct.
$. I got some stupid stuff going on here. So I was on ZAA
12. Mm-hmm.
ZAA 12. All right, y'all got it. $ ZAA 12. Come on, y'all. I don't care how much you give.
Hey, I appreciate you guys so much.
You gotta give, y'all. This is what we do. This is what we do. We support. We support. We support one another. And this is, you know what's amazing? Today is Giving Tuesday. It's called Giving Tuesday. Giving Tuesday. Yeah. So if you haven't given today, now's the time that you can give to author Frank Zaaqan, his
Thank you.
$ capital ZAA 12. So I'm going to tell you, watch your Cash App, because we are going to sow into your life. Right, y'all? Give some hearts. Come on, give some hearts. Y'all know like it's offering time. You know, everybody get quiet when it's offering time. You know what I'm saying? But we want to sow into his life. Come on, get some hearts, get some love, get some hearts. We're going to bring you back. I want to thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
Full hour. You know, I want y'all to share this. Share this. Do a watch party. Oh my God. Okay, I see y'all. That's good. Come on, get some hearts, get some love, and make sure you sow into his life. $ capital ZAA 12. I'm going to let you go. I really don't want to let you go, but I'm going to be in touch with you. Watch your Cash App. I
got you, Deborah. And thank you so much. I really appreciate it. And I really enjoyed this show. It was great. Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. So there you have it. We had the author Frank Zaaqan Jordan tonight. What an informative information. I want you to come back next week. Next week, I'm going to have author Charlie Bingham Jr. His book is called The Death of Mr. Good Game, My Struggle to Get Sober. You don't want to miss that. December the 15th, Pastor Tisha Jones, Purposely Positioned. You don't want to miss that. And we have a lineup in January. I'm not even going to tell you about the lineup in January. But you definitely want to stay tuned. I'm telling you. Share this video. You do a watch party. Y'all know it's some informative information. I also want you to look at the commercial before you go. If you haven't seen the commercial, I want you to look at the commercial. I want you to stay safe, be blessed, and have a wonderful, wonderful rest of the evening.
What our people don't know is that you had a president by the name of Andrew Jackson. In 1830, he made a bill called the Removal Act that actually legally let the government and let the army actually remove the Indians from off their lands. A lot of our people don't understand as far as like where a lot of stuff actually formed from, as far as like minstrel shows, as far as like the exaggeration of certain paintings and advertisements, as far as like what blacks had to suffer. That goes back to Renaissance period. You have guys like Michelangelo, Rembrandt, and Leonardo da Vinci that was paid a commission by the popes back in the 1400s to actually redo everything, redo all the cathedrals, paint the ceilings, you know, Moses being white, David, all the biblical characters, okay, white. Uncovering the evil of America it goes into ingredients. Different food ingredients that are delegated towards black communities. Red dye is one ingredient, like blue dye and the dyes. The FDA and just like the CDC, what they do, they work hand in hand together. The FDA approves the bad food. Okay, the CDC, they approve the bad medicine. We're going to treat this element. If they cure it, they can't make no money. Oh, Hustle, you got to understand even the history behind holidays. You know that are celebrated by people like Thanksgiving. You know, that was like one of the most murderous days on the calendar. You had General Custer, and you had a couple more guys that came in with a brigade, and they actually started scalping the Indians, and they started like just taking over their land. So as a you know, as a result of that, and they made fun of the Indians. You know, they had the Indians go out, kill turkeys, and come and serve them. So originally, the turkey represented, and they was making fun of the North American Indians, how they killed them. You know, and it went around and started chopping off the Indian chief's heads and, you know, kicking it around. That's where the game came from? Zaaqan. So how do we get this way? You know, how are you going to capture a nation of people, the greatest people on this earth, you know, and how do we come to the terms that we're at to this day?
Author and historian Frank Zaaqan Jordan book collection is now available on Amazon. Order your copy today.